Hello, this is Jim Freeble with the Heritage Committee. Vincent and I are here to put on film an interview with three past Grand Presidents. First we have Acquistapace, and then we have Dave Botta, and then the First Lady Grand President, Carmen Kilcullen. Okay, first question. Bob, why did you join the ICF and stay so dedicated?
Well, there was a branch of the ICF in Santa Rosa already, branch 18. But in 1966, Father Reno Botta came to Santa Rosa, to St. Eugene's, the cathedral parish, and he asked us to join. A lot of my other friends had already joined this new branch, and since my wife and I could join together, we felt it was something that we wanted to do. And because the two of us could go to meetings and to work together as a team, husband and wife, in the same organizations, that's why we stayed with it through the years. It really meant a lot to us that it wasn't a men's club or a women's club, but it was husband and wife.
Family organization. Dave, same question?
Well, before I even joined the ICF, I grew up in the ICF. Crockett Branch had a drum corps and a drill team, and my brother was in the drum corps. So my mother was a chaperone, so when I was 5 and 6, we used to get on the bus to go to all the parades with them. We started a junior branch in Crockett in 1951, but I hadn't made my first communion yet. When I made my first communion, we could join the ICF. So I joined the junior branch, which ran just like the senior branch. We called the regular branches senior branches. We would meet on a Tuesday night, we had scars, we did everything the same. So when I made my first Holy Communion in 1952, I was able to join the junior branch. I can remember because we used to associate with Napa, they had a junior branch. We would have the same refreshments, chocolate donuts and chocolate milk. When we graduated from grammar school in 1957, instead of staying in a junior branch, we were in high school now, we all went into what we call the senior branch, the regular branch. And then the junior branch kind of folded after we left because all of us went into the senior branch. I became the president of the regular branch in 1961, and the first convention that I attended was 1958. It was in Oakland when we reorganized our drum corps. And the old drum corps folded, they went into the service and left, so we started a new one. And I remember the banner we had in front of us, "Have faith in us," in 59, because we just learned to drum 2 weeks before that convention. And the next year was Bakersfield when we went to that convention and then knew how to drum. So and then I've been in the ICF ever since 1952.
Sorry. It's a long time. Carmen?
Well, my story is a little different, and some people have heard it before. I was living in San Francisco, and I was teaching in San Francisco, and that was the year when the schools went through an upheaval of changing, busing people all over the place, students, changing schools, this, that, and the other thing. And it was really a very difficult time in the city. And we were really kind of overworked, and a lot of times just kind of at loose ends with what was going on. And I used to take my mother's best friend shopping because she did not drive, and she used to do babysitting for me. So she wouldn't charge me anything. So as a reciprocal, I would take her shopping. And one day she said to me, "Carmen, you look so down. What is the matter?" As I explained to her, she said, I guess one of the best advice I ever got, she said, you need to do something totally different. And she said, I have it for you. She said, I belong to branch 175 at St. Monica's over in the Richmond district. And she said, they're a great group of people and everything else. She said, I think you ought to come over there and just do something else. So I thought about it, and I know my aunts had been charter members of the Hillsburg branch, but my parents were not joiners, so we hadn't really joined anything. So I decided, okay, fine, I'll do it, I'll go. Well, when I get over there, I find people that I know, and everybody was so warm and inviting, and they were all having such a great time. I signed up right away. Well, lo and behold, the rest is history. I became president, I became district president, I became grand president. And so that's the way it went.
Right, you jumped in with both feet, that definitely. Bob, what are some of your fondest memories and stories of the ICF?
I've really had a good time. Probably the best time that I had was really when I got on the Central Council, and some of my best memories are when I was Grand President. I have to tell you, one of the things I did was to go out for abalone. And my wife said that when the executive committee met, she'd be willing to come to the office and cook abalone for everybody after the executive committee if it was okay with them. Well, they thought that was a pretty good idea. So in the old days like that, we were meeting in the office in San Francisco. And so we'd go on Van Ness and Clay. Kathy would bring her little electric frying pan. She'd cook abalone for everybody. Another time, a past grand president who's deceased now, Rinaldo Carmazzi, we went to his house and we had an abalone feed there. And then after I was no longer grand president, but on the scholarship committee, we had a few more abalone, and Kathy cooked them in the office in Oakland when the scholarship committee met. We judged the scholarships, and then we had an abalone dinner after that. But I don't know, there's just been so many great things. Kathy and I have enjoyed the conventions, we've enjoyed going to individual homes, and we've just enjoyed having fun with people we know. And in my own branch, which I'm president of my branch right now, that's the fun part of it, because I know these people. I've known them all my life. I grew up in Santa Rosa, so did they, and we have a good time doing what other people would call just regular ICF activities. We make a party out of it and have a good time.
Now you find that most branches that are successful is that people go there and have a good time. There's a lot of enjoyment. They enjoy the meals and the together. And
I believe in fun. I really do. I don't want to say that the Italian Catholic Federation is only an eating and drinking organization, because we're not. But there's nothing wrong with fun. If you take some of the activities you have, you make money from it, and then you translate it into apostolate and charity work.
Exactly.
But there's nothing wrong in my book with having fun.
Oh, that's great. I agree with that. Dave, what are some of the fondest memories and stories of yours of the ICF?
I guess one of the biggest is when we used to march in parades from Calistoga to San Francisco to Bakersfield, and there we had the banner, Italian Catholic Federation, right in front of us. I remember in San Francisco when we marched there for the Columbus Day, and the viewing stand was right in front of St. Peter and Paul's Church. When the ICF came out, of course, that time all the Italians were there, most of them were members, came running out just to touch us. Well, you're from the Federation, good. You know, just knowing that we represented the Italian Catholic Federation was something. And then when I became Grand President, or when I first went into the Central Council in 1965, I think it's just being with people, with all these people from all over the country, and sharing things with them, and just friends to go everything. Like Bob said, going to the branch meetings, going to the installations, you're out there with people that you really enjoy, you know, and you can communicate. And a lot of times we would talk the different dialects, you know, because I only knew a dialect. You'd talk to someone else and we'd laugh trying to figure out what did each other say. But it's the people in the ICF that really I've enjoyed all my life.
You also had a special experience when you were president, that you went to Rome too, in the Vatican. And
yes, my last year, Pat and I went to the Vatican and presented the Pope John Paul II with the check from the ICF. But just him, we were in the front row, and I remember we got there early, and an archbishop from Louisiana was there, and he said, "Gee, if I knew you were going to try to get tickets, I would get them for you." I said, "No, I think we have some good tickets." So here we are in the front row. Prima fila was called on the ticket. And when the archbishop came in with the, you know, all the cardinals, the archbishop, he looks down from up at the top where the Pope was. He says, "Hey, you really got good seats." But when the Pope came to you, it was a feeling, it's hard to explain. You know, you've got tears, and he wanted to know where I was from. He wanted to know about my family, and he wanted to know about the Italian Catholic Federation. So we talked about 4 or 5 minutes. It's just something you'll never forget.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Carmen, what are some of the fondest memories and stories of yours in the ICF?
Well, I have quite a few. First of all, I will echo what the other two gentlemen have said about the camaraderie and the friendship and the friendships that you make. Even to this day that I am now an emeritus, I mean, I can still go places, people come up and talk to me, they will ask me about my daughter, they will ask me, you know, various questions and different kinds of things. I think so, there's a couple that stand out. Of course, having been the first woman Grand President, I think that was really big for me. And I'll tell you one of the reasons it was really big for me. When I was installed as the Grand President, my mother was able to be there. And my father had passed away. But my mother, who really followed my so-called ICF career, she was there. And when I got up to give my speech on the Monday morning, without, the first person I was going to thank was my mother, and I said, and I would like to thank my mother for all the encouragement she gave me during the years and the support and everything. And as one, everybody in that hall stood up to applaud her. I was taken aback, and I think my mother was too. But it was just a really an uplifting moment. And then I think the other really big thing was when I went to Chicago for a Bishop's Day, and that evening Cardinal Bernardine happened to come to the Bishop's Mass and the dinner, and I sat next to him. And I thought that was really quite a privilege. He was quite a person, in spite of what they put him through afterwards. And but to talk to him that night, we had a wonderful conversation, and to be with him, I think those were probably the two highlights. The other things were just, when I was Grand President, I can't believe how smoothly everything went. I had wonderful people that worked with me. We got a lot of things done. We did a lot. And I was very pleased to have, Larry came along, and he was really good about it. We have so many very, very interesting and amusing things that happened to us, like the time we got on the plane dressed in formal clothes, carrying roses, and everybody looked at us in the plane wondering, who are these two people? Are they somebody? And of course we kind of relished that. But at any rate, and it's just everything. And then coming now from San Francisco, coming to Healdsburg and joining the branch that my aunts and uncles were charter members of, that to me just is kind of, it's just kind of what, that the wheel has turned, and here I am in this situation, and it's just wonderful. And I think these things I really relish.